everyone. Welcome to Trauma Behind the Glamour. And here I am with the amazing Meghan Pulles. And she is a singer-songwriter and she's from Nashville. Ra and Freddie had the amazing opportunity to meet her at a Post GRAMMY party in Los Angeles. From Los Angeles, she's here in New York City, yay! And she's performing at some places on Monday night, she performed on Friday night, and she's here. And today, she's the spotlight. She's about to tell you the trauma behind the glamour. Meghan, it's all yours.
Step into the world behind the spotlight with Trauma Behind the Glamour, a powerful new podcast hosted by none other than Ra. Each week, Ra sits down with artists from all walks of life, models, fashion designers, actors, and musicians who share their unfiltered stories of struggle and resilience.
So thank you so much for having me. A little bit about my story. I was raised in Florida, and I went to school for opera, and my journey with trauma and with music hasn't been an easy one. I really had a lot of difficulty finding confidence when I first started writing music. I didn't think that I could be the one to tell my story. I thought maybe I would be better behind the scenes just writing for someone else. And that journey that I had to take with self-confidence was just a very, very hard road for me. And, even to this day, stepping into my light and such like that, it's, not every day I wake up and I'm like, I'm so confident. And it's a journey, and mental health is a journey, and it's really important to acknowledge that. And I grew up in a house that wasn't necessarily super supportive of my art, and I think a lot of people can relate to those stories of not feeling supported and loved and cared for in the way that you need to be as an artist. And the road as an artist, we have to make decisions that help our career and help propel us forward. And sometimes our families or our friends, they don't understand those decisions. And I've had to really go on a journey. I'm actually about to turn 37 tomorrow. I've had to go on a journey to be able to kind of detach from those expectations of what other people think that I should be doing and what other people think I should sound like, what other people think, my journey is. And I think self-empowerment is really, really important just with going through trauma. And your traumas are a part of you, but they should never, ever define who you are. You should be able to acknowledge them with grace and thank them for the lessons, but after that, don't live in a victim mentality. And I did in my 20s. I lived as a victim, and it really, really stunted me. And I really feel like if I were to have addressed these mental health issues earlier, that I probably would have stepped into my power a little earlier. But everyone has their own time and their own place for when they're ready to step into their power. And so if you are feeling inferior to other people and other people are further along than you, I just think it's really important to acknowledge the steps that you have taken in your mental health journey and the steps that you can continue to take and the little things that you can do to implement and make your life better, because the first step to fixing these issues is acknowledging them. And I think that that's something that I have gotten a lot better with over the years, and I've seen people in the arts also address it, and it's a very important topic to me and my music and my brand. And this is an absolutely amazing thing that we're doing today, and it's so important because not everyone has those resources, and so this could be a free resource for someone that's struggling. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about music and how I move through my trauma with my music. So there is a song that I have released called Not Mine to Hold, and it came from this projection of other people. And people will put labels on us that don't belong to us. They will make assumptions about us that don't necessarily fit our makeup, and they do that because they are uncomfortable facing their own demons, and there's abuse that can come from that. And so that song, that was a moment for me to really take my pain, take my sorrow, take my grief, take every emotion that I was feeling when I wrote that song, and just tell myself that it wasn't my fault. The things that happened to me in my life and the abuse that I've endured, that is not my fault. And I think everyone has this kind of story where they have felt so vulnerable and broken and didn't know if they could go on. And so music is it's the only way that I get through the darkness. And it has been a balm for me since I started writing and releasing music, like 7 years ago. And it's just a safe space. You know, the world is a very dark place, and music has always felt like a sanctuary. It has always felt like a place where I can go and I can not be judged, and I can just pour my heart into what I am going to leave behind in this world, you know, when it's my time. And it's just really, really important to have that just connection to music in my life. It is the one thing that just keeps me sane. And to be someone that gets to heal through music and share the messaging to other people, it means the world to me. And it's a role that I am so grateful that I get to play. Yeah. So some of the lyrics in this song are, you know, actual moments that happened to me. And the first lyric is, she held your hand the same as mine, and she showed you places you thought were kind. And those lyrics, they really portray generational trauma. They really portray the moment where, you know, a mother, maybe she doesn't mean to, but she does something that is very, very dysfunctional to her child because that's what was done to her. And that, you know, that song really just focuses on that pain and that hurt that I felt when I didn't feel safe with my mother. And I think that that's a very important topic that we need to talk about too, because I think in these dysfunctional family relationships, they're just, you know, people just like to blame one person and then they're the scapegoat. But in reality, it's a cycle of abuse that needs to be broken.
Hello everyone, welcome to another amazing episode of Trauma Behind the Glamour, and today we're here with Meghan, and you have just heard this amazing artist. She's a singer-songwriter. She writes her own songs, and it's very rare that you come across the same person writing their own songs. You run across people in this place who are big singers. Yes, they bring big music to the industry. We had Backstreet Boys, we had NSYNC back in the day. Today we have BTS. And people love their videos, they love their songs. Most of it they don't write all the time. Most of it, they don't put together those videos. They don't edit those videos. They don't direct how those videos play off. But at the end of the day, when you come across an artist like Meghan, she does it by herself. Like you just heard her with the lyrics. Getting the lyrics to put together, it's real life. And that's amazing. Like I was just telling you that we were discussing how I put together my first song in 2020 during the pandemic. It's the pressure. How you feel at that moment, it comes out. That's what I tell people. When you sing a song and you hear the lyrics and you understand it, I'm off the deep end, watchers are diving, I'll never meet the ground. When she says that, that's your life, your journey, your step up that ladder. No one sees it. Only you know that struggle. And I am very, very proud of you, Meghan, that you actually live it and you take those steps towards your success. And that's amazing. And you never give up. You said so much things, and this is why we speak about the trauma behind the glamour. People live with it. They go on every single day. You can go for therapy. You can go, you can say, all right, it's done, drop it. Ra has a thing that says, let go. We can let go as much as you want. Something comes forward that you go back in that space. You talk about your abuse. Let's go back to that, because that was one of the major things that shapes a person. But you talk about the abuse where, you spoke about the abuse where you understood that that person went through that abuse, that person went through that trauma, and that's what they know. So you explain that a little bit for us.
Yeah, so I think it's important to know that when you're being abused by a family member, it's most likely because they were abused, and you have to, just understand that that is going to be a vicious cycle. And, we have people called cycle breakers who decide to step out of that and decide to say, you know what? If you were abused, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be abused. And then we can put up boundaries. We can decide to go, estranged with a family member. And that's a hard decision, but it's harder to deal with the abuse.
And not only that, what about, we can say that as an adult, as understanding that. What if when you cannot say that as a child, being 6 years old?
You can't.
And how do you, what advice you have for another 6-year-old that would have to go through that?
I mean, it's really hard because as kids, we need our parents, right? And how are we to know that what they're doing is abusive when we're 6? I mean, it's a really tricky conversation when it's that young, because you're just defenseless, and you think that, if they yell at you, that's normal, and they call you names and they tell you you're stupid and you're never gonna get anywhere and you're a failure. Like, I don't think the parents realize those impacts on the child that come up in our 30s even, like your inner child stuff just comes up, and that's something that you have to look in the eye and face. And I think a lot of people are just like, well, that was just my family. Every family has problems, but I think there are some families that are just highly, highly toxic.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I tell people this all the time, and I love that you said that there's no possible way to go back and tell a child, because when you trust someone, and when you see them as a figure, as a mom, as a dad, it could be a step-parent that you see as a father, like in my situation. No matter how much I see it, I did not know that was abuse. Right. I just thought why this man I call daddy don't love me the same way he loves my brothers. You get what I mean? Mm-hmm. And there's no way you can explain, because have you ever seen where you tell a child whatever you want, in the right way, about the parent, but you're not talking bad about the parent, you're saying as it is. And that child will never see it, because that's their mommy, that's their daddy. All right, so since you talk about that and the abuse and coming forward, what's the support like for your music?
What's the support like? I mean, how does it tie in? Is that what you're saying? I would say that it's been a really good place for me to put these feelings. And like you said, favoritism in the family. I have a song that I actually just wrote recently and I performed on Friday at the Bitter End called Favorite Child, which just kind of talks about how, you had to have a favorite child. You chose to be wrong when you should have been right. And I was put out to talk about how the parent picked a favorite child and chose favoritism and made the other child feel very, thrown out to pasture and almost, replaced by the child and the other child, and just gives more emotional support to the child, cares more about how the other child is doing, and that connection of the parent loving the child unconditionally, it doesn't exist.
I have seen this happen on like, well, I can't say I have seen it with myself. If I have to say that, then I'll be bad because when it comes to my mom and me, it was a different story. And like she would explain to them, I love all three of my sons. It's just that with Raw, it was just always a difference. I don't know what she said. I can't be her.
Yeah.
But then I'll end up being stuck and saying that right here, I'm the favorite child. So I don't want to be like that. But I did see it happen with my aunt, especially because I heard my cousins cry over this, that, oh, you know, my mom would pick up for my brother more than me and stuff like this, and why. And you see these things happening all the time, but I love that you would have brought a song out of it. So you see how you can take trauma, and this is why we talk about trauma behind the glamour. You can take that trauma and bring it into something beautiful. Because at the end of the day, no matter what happened to you in your life, you're here. You're in New York City performing at different places. We met you in LA. Come on.
Yeah.
So let's talk about just the way you go on stage and perform, the acceptance, how you feel inside when you go out there on stage, and some people look at you like, oh, and some people, this is what we deal with.
Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest things about being an artist and being a live performer is you have to be vulnerable without judgment. You can't worry about did that person see me slip and miss a chord? Did that person hear me sing a wrong note or wrong lyric? You have to just be giving your heart and your soul to the audience and let them in. You know, I think I've been live performing for years, and one thing that I think is really important is it's not just for me. And I think when I started sharing my stuff on stage, I was very like, it's for me. But now I've started incorporating, you know, some audience participation. Like I had the audience sing with me in one of my songs, actually the Not Mine to Hold song, they were singing with me. And I think just community. I think performing live is community. And it's really powerful.
Love that. Performing live is community. You know, I spoke to an artist recently that she was about to go up on stage, and then she had a call that she found out that her grandfather died.
Oh my gosh.
You tell me, like, just before performance, have you ever heard or have any type of traumas that you still have to go out there and shine?
Yes.
No, so tell us about that. Share us. Not in a way that I'm songing like if it's something exciting. No, I want others to understand they are not alone. This happens.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't just happen to me or you. It happens to everyone.
Everybody.
So tell us about an incident like this.
So I was performing. I performed last year also in New York City, and I experienced a very intense, like, not harassment, but just like one of my family members just like wouldn't leave me alone before my show. And I put up a boundary and I said, look, this is a big show and I need to be focused, and I don't want to go on stage and, you know, mess up, and because you're just like nonstop harassing me and bringing in drama before my performance. And so that I had to go on stage, and there was like 100 people in the bar, and I never played a show that big, and I can pull it off. I'm Meghan Pulles, you know? Like, yeah. I can just like get up there and say, you know what? This is going on and this hurts me, but I have to step into my power.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. You see that? She made that about her. It was about her, and she made it step back into her power, that it is about her. And I guess at the end of the day, you shine. Because it's who you are. And this is the thing about these amazing little hiccups that try to pull us down. Yeah. It's all about who you are. Now, you spoke about how going to perform, and I've heard this many times. What about when you go to perform and you're excited, everything is good, and you go there and the audio guy messes up so bad?
You saw my eyes get really big. Okay, so I think another thing with live performing, you can't control these things, right? You can't control the sound guy being in a bad mood. I've had a show a while ago where a sound guy got on stage like before I was done, and he asked me if I was done, and just like dismissed what I was contributing to the community and the venue. And you know, I could have just made a big stink about it and caused more drama, but I just was like, okay, empathy. It's having a bad day. You know, I can't control dropping my guitar pick or my capo or something funny happening. Like when I was on stage at the bitter end, someone sneezed in the audience and I said bless you, because I just
It's there.
it's polite.
Right.
You know, and there are things we can't control, and I think, and you know, I have a classical background. I'm an opera singer, and that was a very, very harshly judged environment. And I can be very, very overly critical of myself because of my classical upbringing with how, you know, I had to go to juries and pass my recitals and all those things and constantly get judged and graded. And so those things are, it's very easy for me to sit back and watch a performance and be like, you sucked, you were off pitch, you forgot the words, you dropped this. Like, I can tear myself apart, but, you know, I did it, right? I think at the end of the day, live performing, we showed the audience that it's okay to be vulnerable. And that is the biggest superpower that a human can have.
That is so amazing, yeah, because you really cannot control most of the stuff that happen, especially when you're live. And because I know we do this mental health conference, and ours is coming up on June 11th. At the Palladium, Times Square, another mental health conference we have, and it's our 12th mental health conference, and we have some amazing people coming up. I remember having our first mental health conference on Broadway on the stage, and I can't hear the music. I can't hear the music. The music is on one place, and I'm in a different place, and then you just gotta go with it. You just gotta go with the song.
Yeah.
And then you go, or the DJ is giving you a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
We were singing over my track at a fashion show, and the girl, I have no idea what she did, and she put the track slower. And here I am singing Flowers, and I'm running at one speed, and I'm listening to the track at a different speed, and everybody else is saying it's sounding okay, but for me, I know that what's going on. It really throws you off though, because then you look, as you say, you don't care what people think, but at that moment you do. And you have to be back in that state in your mind.
Yeah.
So, what would you say to younger people who are looking at others and go like, oh my God, I have to be 5 years in the recording academy, a member. I have to submit music, so many X amount of music. This journey is hard. How you go like, oh, I just sing my song, leave it there. I don't need to do all this. What advice would you give to someone who really wants to go out there and really push themselves, but they're scared?
Well, I would say that doing things scared just teaches you so much. And I was scared. And I didn't think I could do this. I didn't think I could get into the academy. I didn't think I would end up at the Grammys. I dreamed so big, and I had a vision, and I was like, nothing's gonna stop me. I don't know how I'm gonna get into the recording, no. And I think mindset is everything, because it's easy to say that you're afraid, but you know, just if you really truly want something, you can have it in this world. And I think a lot of people are gonna tell you that you can't, and you cannot listen to those voices, because those voices are gonna stop you from achieving something really great.
Wow, that is powerful. Like one of this was powerful. Those words right there. And it's we're talking about the recording academy here. So Angie goes like, listen, this is what I tell people too. You keep at it. You don't stop. You don't just give up. This is you. It's easy to be scared. It's easy for most of the things, it's easy to pick up the bottle of Poland Spring and say, okay, I'm going to put it to my mouth. But the journey from there to here, it's always a journey. You have to know what is meant for you shall never pass you by. And what passes you by was never meant for you. I love this journey that you're on, and I love your drive. I can't wait to come and see you perform tomorrow live on stage and see how you really bring it. Meghan, what do you like in your let's just say the past 5 years, which has been a very trialing times for the whole entire world, because we came from the pandemic, now we're in a war. What's your advice to people at this time who is going through some sort of depression or they feel that they are alone?
I would say, find support, find community. If religion is your thing, find a church. Like living in New York City, I lived here for 10 years, and I had the most amazing church community that got me through some of the hardest times, including depression and grief and anxiety and all of these things. And I was there today after not even living here, and when I come back, it's like I'm home, and that's so important. So yeah, just support. And I would say if you're going through depression, just try to celebrate something you do every day. And it doesn't have to be, maybe you took a shower, you ate, it could be little things like that. And don't be so hard on yourself for what you didn't do. Because I think we can get really negative about that. I didn't do this, I didn't do this, I didn't do this. And it's well, what did I do today? Did I take time to be grateful? I think gratitude is also very important with getting out of that.
Oh yeah, I love talking to her. Time just flies. So you see, if you're going through something, you see the little steps. We spoke about that previously on Trauma Behind the Glamour, where it is the little steps that you take of appreciation. Appreciation of that person in the mirror, loving you, accepting who you are and what you are about and what you do every day. And the gratitude for telling yourself thank you. Give yourself a pat on the back for the little things, for bringing yourself from yesterday to today. And it all works in sync and perfectly fine as you go along. Meghan, it was really nice sitting here speaking with you. Can you tell them all where they can find you?
Yeah. So you can find my music on all streaming platforms. You can follow me on Instagram. It's MEGHANPULLS music. And my other social medias, you can Google my name and probably find me pretty easily.
I love that.
That's amazing.
I just caught on to your name. It says Pulles, right?
Pulles, yeah.
Pulles.
It's Dutch.
Oh, okay, cool. So it's spelled like that. I'm
Yeah.
it's so cool that when you go to sing, you actually bring the cloud. Yes, you bring the cloud to you.
With my energy,
That
right?
is beautiful. So
Yeah.
y'all follow Meghan, show her some love and some support. Those of you on Spotify, on iHeartRadio, on Amazon Music, and Apple iTunes, wherever you listen to the podcast from, show Meghan some love, follow her, and remember, we love you, we believe in you, you are not alone. This is Ra, Mr. Trauma Talks, and the amazing Meghan. We love you. Thank you so much.
Toss myself on the concrete just to get you to move. You went to where your favorite child, even though you had pierced like a knife. Only I stood out to pass you slowly. You went to where your favorite. Even though you went pierced like a knife. Oh, I stood out to pass you slowly. You went to where favorite child. Would you give it all to her and leave me with nothing? 'Cause I fall down deeper and you don't come running. You pass me by, you pass me, I am left back in the quicksand.